Shalom, Yasharallah, giving all praise and glory to the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's worthy to be praised for everything. We are looking at the destruction of Nicanor tonight. As always, I'm going to start out with Colossians 3 and 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem, Mashiach Yahushua. Give me thanks to the Most High and the Father by Hashem, Mashiach Yahushua. So, everything we say and do is going to be in the name of the Lord and Savior, Mashiach Yahushua. We give praise and glory to his holy name because he's worthy to be praised for everything. The most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. We say that's his name forever, a memorial to all generations. The water, thank you to the most high because he's worthy to be praised for everything. Yes. So, like I said, we're looking at the destruction of Nicanor. It's the day before Purim. So we're looking at 3 days we honoring in a row for the destruction of our enemies that was going to try and wipe us out. Just like 4th of July, they had the War of Independence between Americans and Britain. They got the independence in the 7th month, the 4th day, 1776. Well, we got 3 days right here that we said we're going to remember and getting the victory over our enemy. It's very important that we, look at this and roll with it, and bring it out in remembrance of our story. So let's start at let me see. I'm gonna do a lot of reading. So you can go into the Apocrypha and you can see that it's right here in the Apocrypha, the first Maccabees, the second Maccabees is in between Malachi and Matthew and the King James 611 Bible, which we will be reading from the Cambridge University Press Apocrypha. Cambridge University Press Apocrypha that we'll be reading from. So it's very important that we look at this and go with it. Because just like 4th of July, people remember those days. These are days that we say we're going to remember in getting the victory over our enemies. So I want to look at First Maccabees, the 7th chapter. First and foremost, the destruction of Nicanor. Let's start at verse 1. It says, in the 150th year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, departed from Rome and came up with a few men unto a city of the seacoast and reigned there. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias to bring them unto him. Wherefore, when he knew it, he said, let me not see their faces. I don't even want to see them, he said. Now, this Antiochus is, man, we read about him. You learned about him in the first Maccabees. You want to go back, you can learn about him. Of the Seleucus dynasty, this wicked sucker was real heinous on us as a people, as the Israelites. Hated us. And he did atrocities to us. I mean, so much. I told you about, Eleazar, the elderly man, they want him to eat an abomination, like pork or something of that nature. And then the mother and her 7 sons, she watched be tortured to death. They tortured Eleazar, the old man, the elderly man. Then they tortured his mother's, watching her 7 sons be tortured to death in the Greek Empire. That's where we at, in the Greek Empire, the first empire of the so-called white man. After Alexander died, he set up 4 generals to rule his provinces, and they ruled it. And after them, their sons ruled. So just to bring that on home, so you know that we're in the Greek Empire. This is not in your King James Bible. If you just had a King James Bible, they took it out. They took the Apocrypha 14 books out. So now we're looking at what they took out, okay? In the Greek Empire. That's why you won't understand the Greek Empire unless you understand the prophecies of Daniel. He spoke about it. You see what I'm saying? So here we are. In First Maccabees, in the Greek Empire, verse 3, wherefore, when he knew it, he said, let me not see their faces. I don't even want to see their faces. So his host slew them. Now, when Demetrius was set upon the throne of his kingdom, he empowers and authority, Demetrius, there came unto him, listen, all the wicked and unrighteous men of Israel, bunch of sambos, sellouts. They came unto him, all the wicked and unrighteous men of Israel, having Alchemus, who was desirous to be high priest for their captain. This dude want to be high priest. He wants a position. He want to be the head Israelite in charge. I'll say, you know how they say the head nigger in charge? Well, he want to be the head Israelite in charge, right? The high priest. He wants a position. He want to be somebody in hell. That's where he at. Listen. And they accused the people to the king. You hear that? They accused the people. The Israelites, sound familiar? You got those that against us as Israelites. That's accusing us. Might call the police on us, even though they call themselves clergymen, priests and pastors and ministers and so forth. Listen, and they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren, you want to read about Judas, you go back to, the Feast of Dedication. Just type up the Feast of Dedication. You'll find out about Judas and his brother, because he got the temple back for us. And they accused the people to the king, saying, bunch of snitches, sambos. Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven us out of our own land. Now therefore send some man whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he hath made among us. Judas and his brothers, they were warriors. We were warriors, straight up, taking down the enemy. Rebuilt the temple that the Edomites and all the other nations with them tore down. Why? To keep us from coming back to the Most High, like it is today. Nothing new under the sun. Now therefore send some man whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he hath made among us and in the king's land. See that? See how he pacified himself to the king, bowing down to him? In the king's land. It's our land, but it's the king's land, because they done took over our land. And let him punish them with all them that aid them. Let them punish them. They want them to be put to death. Then the king chose Bacchus, a friend of the king, following just what he said, just what this wicked Israelites was telling him, who ruled beyond the flood and was a great man in the kingdom, and faithful to the king, faithful to the system. In him he sent with that wicked alchemist whom he made high priest, and commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel. Commanded that he should take vengeance of the king of the children of Israel. Take vengeance on us. So they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully. Okay, now we got to look at how they are. They sent words to Judas and his brother. Remember, they coming. They said, "Hey, they coming to kill him." But let's look at the way the Most High, how they are. Uh, Proverbs 16 and 14. I mean 16 and 4. Proverbs 16 and 4. The Most High have made all things for himself, yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. Right? So the Most High made everything for himself, yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. So this is what we're seeing here. Remember what it's saying in verse 10 of First Maccabees, the 7th chapter. So they departed. Remember, their whole mission is what? You gotta stay with me to remember what it is, or read along with me so you understand. And commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel, right? That's their plan, to take vengeance upon us as the children of Israel. Verse 10, so they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea, into our land, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully. That's what the Most High said, hey, the Most High have made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. Now, Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So what does Job 9:24 say? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He who is the wicked covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth been given to the hand of the wicked. He warned us, he said, Most High made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. And we're in the day of evil now. So now, he also says in Psalms 58 and 3, Psalms 58, chapter the 3rd verse, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Now, this is what you're seeing here. Because they came with peaceable words deceitfully. Because their whole objective is what? To bring vengeance upon us, the children of Israel. But they came with peaceable words. We come for peace. But in their mind is vengeance. Speaking of that, get Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You see? Those two scriptures just fits perfectly with that. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Okay, what did it say? In verse 10 of First Maccabees, the 7th chapter. So they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea, came into our land, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully. Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. We come for peace, brother. We want to make a peace treaty with you. Let's make a covenant of love together. But war was in his heart. Verse 9. This is the plot. And him he sent with that wicked alchemist, whom he made high priest, and commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel. That's the war right there. That's in his heart, in his mind. Psalm 55:21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil. Yet were they drawn swords, right? So you gotta look at this. Stay in mind. It's the wicked. It's a wicked plot to kill us. Verse 11. But they gave no heed to their words. They ain't paid attention to what they saying as far as come with these peaceful words, even though it was deceitful. They was liars. For they saw that they were come with a great power, with great hopes, great army. Then did they assemble unto Alchemus and Barchais, a company of scribes, to require justice. Now, the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel that sought peace of them. For said they, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with his army, with this army, and he will do us no wrong. So hey, he a Levite. He a priest of the Most High. He ain't gonna do us no harm. So he spake unto them peaceably, and sware unto them, saying, we will procure the harm neither of you nor your friends. Whereupon they believed him. Howbeit he took of them 60 men. A score is 20. So that's 60 men. And slew them in one day. He killed 60 men in one day. According to the words which he wrote. The flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem, and there is none to bury them. Wherefore the fear and dread of them fell upon all the people, who said, there is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and oath that they made. Come on. How many peace treaties was made here with the North American Indians? Wasn't it 453? 453 peace treaties? Here it is. That's a covenant. That's a contract, an agreement. Here it is now. Same old, nothing new under the sun, y'all. And this removed Barchais from Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Bezith, where he sent and took many of the men that had forsaken him, and certain of the people also. And when he had slain them, he cast them into the great pit. Killed all these men and cast them into a great pit. They dug a big hole, just like they did the North American Indians over here. You know, big pits. You have pictures of it where they dug big pits and they just threw the bodies in there. They was scalping them. They start scalping them, I'll say, but they was bringing the bodies to the trading posts, and then they stopped doing that. They said, too many, you can't handle this, so they start scalping them, and they put the scalps in their bags, and they bring it to the trading posts like that for that money. So they had to do something with the bodies. You can see they have big pits where they dug big trenches, and they just threw the bodies in there, buried them in there like that. Then committed he the country to Alchemus, and left with him a power, that's the armies, to aid him. So Bacchus went to the king. But an Alchemist contended for the high priesthood. He wanted this power, remember? So he contended with him to the king for the high priest. Good. And unto him resorted all such as troubled the people, who, after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel. Once they got our land, did much hurt to the people. Remember, their whole thing was, the plot was what? To take vengeance of the children of Israel. Now, when Judah saw all the mischief that Alchemus and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen. You hear that? Even above the heathen. He went out into all the coasts of Judea round about and took vengeance of them that had revolted from him, so that they durst no more go forth into the country. He took vengeance on them. I mean, he killed them and ran them, like he said, ran them out the country. On the other side, wicked Israelites. On the other side, when Alchemist saw that Judas and his company had gotten the upper hand and knew that he was not able to abide their force, meaning their armies, they were warriors, he went again to the king, back to the king, and said all the worst of them that he could think of, the worst that he could think of, to allow the king to understand that they've been taken down in a mighty way to Judas and his brother and the army that he had. Here come Nicanor. Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that bare deadly hate unto Israel. Hear that? A man that bare deadly hate unto Israel, with commandment to destroy the people. The king sent a commandment under Nicanor to destroy the people. What people? The Israelites. We the Israelites. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, let there be no battle between us, me and you. Don't let it be no battle between us, me and you. I will come with a few men that I may see all you in peace. That I may see you in peace. He came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably. Howbeit the enemies were prepared to take away Judas by violence. That's why it's very important when you're dealing with life situations to remember what these scriptures say. Go to Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter, and the 10th verse. This one I got to get another pocketbook because that one is finished. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I'm trying to find it, but it's somewhere in the mix there. So I think if I got another one, I could find it. No, okay, let me just get another one. Salakia. That's my old trustee. She always have all the answers for me. If I was studying, it would be no problem. But since I'm dealing with time, Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10, it says, "Never trust thine enemy." You see, in Deuteronomy 28:68 says, "The Most High shall send thee into Egypt with captivity, slavery, and bondage again another time with ships. By the way, where I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there, when you go on these ships, you're going to be sold to your enemies. For what? For bondmen and bondwomen, slave men and slave women." That happened to us. We know that we the Israelites, that happened to us. Anybody that don't know that, you better think again. They came here with ships and they put us on ships and sailed us back over to Europe and so forth and sold us from Canada all the way down to South America, Central America, America, everywhere, man. On the Atlantic coast and the West coast, whatever you look at it. So now it says, Ecclesiastes 12 and 10, "Never trust thine enemy. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Let you know, hey, iron takes a little long time to rust. You see what I'm saying? He's gonna let you know pretty soon you're gonna know that, hey, he's still wicked. Listen to what it says. Though he humbled himself, like he said, "Hey man, we come for peace. Let's make a treaty together, man. I'm to be your friend. I'm not your enemy." Though he humbled himself, and go crouching, you take good heed and beware of him. This your enemy. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass. See right through him. And thou shalt know that his rust, which is that wickedness, have not been altogether wiped away. You see? So he says, set him not by thee. Don't let him come near you or be in your, unless when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. That's why I say it's beautiful to know these scriptures, because he give you the answers of how you got to deal in this world. Now, back to the subject at hand. So, I can go back to my old faithful. And you just stay here till I need you. So you see, in First Maccabees 7 and 26, it say, then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, Salakia, hold on. One of his honorable princes, a man that bear deadly hate unto Israel, with commandment to destroy the people. We're in First Maccabees 7 and 26. So he done sent Nicanor to kill the people. He sent Nicanor to kill the people. Commandment to destroy the people. The people are us, the 12 tribes of Israel. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, you notice what it is. Isn't that the same thing that happened before? Verse 10. So they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren. This second time this happening, with peaceable words deceitfully. Here come Nicanor with the same scheme. Remember what we just read in precepts. The wicked go astray as soon as they be born, speaking what? Lies. It's the same thing. Verse 27. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully, that means lying, with friendly words, saying, let there be no battle between me and you. Let there be no battle between us. I will come with a few men that I may see you in peace. He came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably. Howbeit, the enemies were prepared to take away Judas by violence. You see that? Say, though he say peace, but war is in his heart. War is in his mind. Which thing after it was known to Judas, to wit, that he came unto him with deceit. Lying, he was so afraid of him and would see his face no more. He didn't want to see him no more. Okay? Now I want to hold that. We're going to come back here. Let's go into First Maccabees, the 14th chapter. And now let's go to the 15th chapter. I want to read now. Since the Spirit brought First Maccabees 14, I want to bring First Maccabees 14 and 9 because a lot of y'all, when we wear certain garments, y'all be looking at us like we some y'all call us some Star War characters or something of that nature. But look what it says in First Maccabees 14 and 9. The ancient men sat all in the streets, communing together of good things. Listen. And the young men put on glorious and warlike apparel. Hear that? The young men put on glorious and warlike apparel. That's why Moses said, the young men put on warlike apparel. You know, we went to war. When somebody lost the war, don't you realize that sometimes Moses said we can take the spoils, take everything, they go decked out. That's why Moses told us in Isaiah 52. He said, awake. I mean, wake up. Awake. Put on thy strength, O Zion, O 12 tribes of Israel. What did he say? Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city, for henceforth there shall no more come unto thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. They're not coming in to our country no more. They ain't coming around us no more. That's why I tell you, Revelations 22, 14, and 15. It's all here. The past, the present, and the future. It's just a matter of when you have to receive it. Verse 14 says, Revelation 22, 14, blessed are they that do his commandments. So all y'all saying that we ain't under the laws and the commandments, you're going to be without the kingdom. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life. That's everlasting life. And may enter in through the gates into the city. Let's talk only to the Israelites, because there's 3 gates on the north for the Israelites, 3 tribes going into those 3 gates. Each tribe have his own gate to go through. Three tribes and 3 gates on the south. 3 tribes going into those gates. 3 tribes going into the eastern gates. And 3 tribes of the 12 tribes of Israel going into the western gates. That's 12 gates. North, south, east, and west. And each one that's going to be redeemed of the Israelites going into those gates. That's what he's saying. So that's not talking about any other nation. You know, I mean, just to prove that real quick, go to, so you know I ain't just talking out the side of my neck. Uh, go to Revelations, since we in Revelations. Let's look at verse 12. And had a wall, great and high, and had 12 gates. You see? And at the gates, 12 angels and names written thereon. Let's see if it's talking about every nation. No, it says, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So no, we're not cast away. We're not done away with. We right here. On the east 3 gates, see, just I was just telling you. On the east 3 gates, so it's the 12 tribes of Israel. So you got 3 tribes, or that's going into the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, and it's on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, the south gonna be 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates, you see? On the west 3 gates, that's 12 tribes, each tribe having a gate to go through, okay? So it can't be anybody else but the 12 tribes of Israel, or make it mean something different. Now, Revelation 22 and 15. They say, for without the kingdom are dogs. And now y'all define dogs. In the New English Bible Dictionary, dog is a word that was used by the Israelites pertaining to the Gentiles because of their profaneness, because of homosexuality, probably a reference to homosexuality. And they took dog and spelled it backwards and came up with God. That's what y'all calling on them all the time. When you calling on God, y'all saying God. They put themselves in the Bible as being God. And sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. You see? And we read about, are we reading about liars right now? Haven't we been reading about deceitful words? Isn't that lying words? Think about it. But y'all gonna say, hey, all right. Now let's go into it. We can read First Maccabees, the 15th chapter. It says, moreover, Antiochus, this wicked king that was of the Seleucid dynasty, son of Demetrius the king, sent letters from the islands of the sea unto Simon the priest and prince of the Jews and to all the people. The contents whereof were these: King Antiochus to Simon the high priest and prince of his nation, and to the people of the Jews greeting. For as much as certain pestilent men have usurped the kingdom of our fathers, and my purpose is to challenge it again, that I may restore it to the old estate, and to that end have gathered a multitude of foreign soldiers together and prepared ships of war, by meaning also being to go through the country, that I may be avenged of them that have destroyed it and made many cities in the kingdom desolate. Now therefore I confirm unto thee all the oblations which the kings before me granted you, thee as you, and whatsoever gifts besides they granted. I'm gonna give you more gifts than they offered you. I give thee, that's like a peace offering, you know what I mean? All, so I said, gift destroy the heart. I give thee leave also to coin money for thy country with thine own stamp, with your own stamp, Israel on it. And as concerning Jerusalem and the sanctuary, let them be free, and all the armor that thou hast made, and fortresses that thou hast built, and keepeth in thine hands, let them remain unto thee. Whatever you get, let it remain yours. And if anything be or shall be owing to the king, let it be forgiven thee from this time forth forevermore. Anything you owe the king, hey, no taxes, you got to worry about nothing. Furthermore, now this is a wicked dude. When I told you about that, killed the mother and her 7 sons, and Eleazar, the elderly man, and many atrocities. When you look at First Maccabees, the first chapter, you start reading from that point on. Destroyed our sanctuary. Where we had Judas Maccabees, that's where he come into play, and getting our sanctuary back. That's why we had a feast of dedication that you could read about in St. John, the 10th chapter, the 22nd verse, that the Mashiach of Shai observed. You see what I'm saying? But you go to church, so y'all probably don't know nothing about that. All you that's Israelites, you should already know about this. You know what I mean? About this cat, because we learned about him at the Feast of Dedication when we got the temple back. Furthermore, when we have obtained our kingdom, we will honor thee and thy nation and thy temple with great honor, so that your honor shall be known throughout the world. I'm reading it, but it's like that he's lying. But a lot of y'all believe whatever they say, y'all believe it. To this day, in the 114th year, when Antiochus into the land of his fathers, at which time all the forces came together with him unto him, so that few were left with Tryphon. Wherefore, being pursued by King Antiochus, he fled into Dora, which lieth by the seaside. For he saw that troubles came upon him all at once, and that his forces had forsaken him. His men had forsaken him. Then camped Antiochus against Dora, having with him an hundred and 20,000 men of war. First Maccabees, the 15th chapter, verse 14, verse 13. Then camped Antiochus against Dora, having with him 120,000 men of war and 8,000 horsemen. You see, this is all about war, y'all. And when he had compassed the city round about and joined ships close to the town on the seaside, he vexed the city by land and by sea. Hear that? He vexed the city, but he come in peace by land and by sea. Neither suffered he any to go out or in. What's that called? Sanctions, embargoes, martial law. In the mean season came Numenius and his company from Rome, having letters to the kings and countries wherein were written these things. Now understand, this is before Hamashiach came on the earth. This is what we were going through before he came on the earth. Because we're not in the Roman Empire, we're in the Greek Empire. Understand this. After the Greek Empire was the Roman Empire, that's the empire that Hamashiach came in the earth for. And in the mean season came Numenius and his company, his armies from Rome, having letters to the kings and countries wherein were written these things. Lucius, consul of the Romans, unto King Ptolemy, greeting. Ptolemy, he was ruling Egypt. The Jews, ambassadors, our friends and confederates, came unto us to renew the old friendship and league. So that's the Romans. We created a league with the Romans that's different than, the Greeks. Understand this. But they same people, but different in the standpoint of how they were rolling with us. You see, we said ambassadors to the Romans, and they made a league with us to be, down with us. We looking at them, okay, we need somebody behind us, so we made a league with them. And understand this, Romans, they still the Greeks. They were the Greeks. But Romulus and Remus, they got a movie. I've seen a movie about them. Or you can look it up on the internet. Romulus and Remus, they were raised by a she-wolf. And Romulus wanted the people's name, the Greeks, so-called white people's names, to be called the Romans. Remus said, no, let it stay like it is. So Romulus killed his brother. Sound familiar? Romulus killed his brother, so they became the name of the Romans after him. It's cold, right? It's where it is. Cain and Abel. Esau said gonna kill his brother Jacob once they buried our forefather Isaac. He didn't do it when he seen it, but he put that vow out there, so here we are. We dealing with it. It's real as real could be. And we got to deal with it. Listen. Verse 18. And they brought a shield of gold of 1,000 pounds. A shield of gold, 1,000 pounds. We thought it good, therefore, to write unto the kings and countries that they should do them no harm, nor fight against them, their cities or countries, nor yet aid their enemies against them. 1,000 pounds of gold? 1,000 pounds of gold? A gold shield that weighed 1,000 pounds? It seemed, but we were so poor, right? It seemed also good to us to receive the shield of them. I guess so, 1,000 pounds. If therefore there be any pestilence, fellows, that have fled from their country unto you, deliver them unto Simon the high priest, that he may punish them according to their own law. The same things wrote he likewise unto Demetrius the king, and Antaius to Eratus and Arsaces, and to all the countries, and to Campsames and the Lacedaemonians. Man, they got demon in that name. Lacedaemonians. I can't even hardly say it, Salakia. And, and to Dulis and Monitus and Sijon and Carrier, all these people right here. I'm not going to go through all of them. And verse 24, and the copy hereof they wrote to Simon the high priest. So Antiochus the king camped against Dora the second day, assaulting it continually and making engines, by which means he shut up Tryphon, that he could neither go out or in. Like martial law. At that time, Simon sent him 2,000 chosen men. Okay, I'm supposed to be in Salakia. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 15, because we dealing with, because Antiochus, he gonna be put to death. But Nicanor, that we dealing with destruction of Nicanor, Salakia, but that was a good reading. Hearing that Judas and his company were in the strong places about Samaria, resolved without any danger to set upon them on the Sabbath day. Because he figured we weren't going to fight on the Sabbath day, right? So I didn't know about the Sabbath day, the seventh day of the week. Because there were some that they killed that wouldn't fight on the Sabbath day. So he said, we're going to get them on the Sabbath day. Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, oh, destroy not so cruelly and barbarously, but give honor to that day, which he that seeth all things, that's the Most High, have honored with holiness above all other days. That's the Sabbath day, the seventh day of the week. He's actually giving leniency on that day. Then the most ungracious wretch demanded, if there were a mighty one in heaven, talking about the Most High, that had commanded the Sabbath day to be kept. And when they said, there is in heaven a living power and mighty, who commanded the seventh day to be kept, then said the other, and I am mighty upon earth, and I command to take arms and to do the king's business. So I demand to take arms and do what I say do the king's business. Yet he obtained not to have his wicked will done. So Nicanor, in exceeding pride and haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas. And we're in 2 Maccabees, the 15th chapter. Then said the other, verse 4. 2 Maccabees, the 15th chapter, the 4th verse. And when they said, there is in heaven a living power, talking about the Most High, and mighty, talking about the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, who commanded the seventh day to be kept. That's the Sabbath day, the seventh day. Then said the other, and I also am mighty upon earth, and I command to take arms. So we compare ourselves to the Most High. Remember Job 9:24. The earth was given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges. And what more of a judge do we have than the Most High? He the ultimate judge. And they covered the face of the judges. And they open up the Bible and showed you over and over again. It'd be their picture and they're saying God with the dog spelled backwards. It's okay. But they represent themselves as the Most High, as the Mashiach Yahushua, as the children of Israel. To this day, it is what it is. We read about it. It says, he said, look, listen to what he said. Then said they said, there is in heaven, verse 4, a living power and mighty. It's the Most High, y'all, who commanded the seventh day to be kept. The Most High commanded the seventh day as the Sabbath that we are observing right now. Then said the other, and I also am mighty upon earth, and I command to take arms and to do the king's business. Yet he obtained not to have this his wicked will done. So Nicanor, that we looking at destruction of Nicanor, in exceeding pride, in haughtiness, prideful, man, to the utmost, exceeding haughtiness, exceeding pridefulness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that were with him. But Maccabeus had ever sure confidence that the Most High would help him. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times, that we got to remember, they had received from heaven, from the Most High. And now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty, from the Most High. Not from man, but from the Most High. And so comforting them out of the law and the prophets, because that's all they had to go by, was the law and the prophets. So comfort him by the law and the prophets. That's powerful. And withal putting them in mind of the battles that they won or fought. Remember all the battles that we done won. Remind you, I told you the Feast of Dedication, they done took down the Greeks. They done took down our enemies to get the temple back. Now he reminded them, remember what the Most High already done done. He made them more cheerful. Even if we go into the victories that the Most High did when we go out to war, we wake up and the Most High to kill everybody on the ground and say, don't worry about it. I'm fighting this battle. Send an angel, one angel. They wake up, everybody's dead.
Don't.
Over 100,000 on the ground, dead. Through the power of the Most High. And you think about it, Mashiach Shai coming back with 200 million angels to bring righteousness on this earth. Oh yeah. That's why I said, remember. It's ain't about remembering man. What man can do, it's about remembering our power. The power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Most High. So when they heard that, so remember what he did aforetime, what he did already. They heard that, they got happy. And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge. That's what you're going to do. Showing them therewithal the falsehood of the heathen and the breach of oaths, the lies that we've heard. If you listening, the lies that you heard already. It's like I got to go to another. The lies that you heard already. It's said from the womb. You what it said? The falsehood of the heathen and the breach of oaths. I mean, come on, they had 453 peace treaties they had right here in this land and broke them all. Thus he armed every one of them, not so much with defense of shields and spears as with comfortable and good words. Remember, he's going into the law and the prophets and remembering the Most High's victories over our enemies as the 12 tribes of Israel. And beside that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed, as if it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. You see? Told him a dream that he had. And this was the vision or the dream that Onias, who had been high priest, a virtuous and a good man, reverent in conversation, gentle in condition, well spoken also, and exercised from a child in all points of virtue, holding up his hands, prayed for the whole body of the Jews, all the nations of Jews, held up his hand and prayed for all of us. This done, in like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs, and exceeding glorious, who was of a wonderful and excellent majesty. Then Ananias answered, saying, this is a lover of the brethren, who prayed much for the people and for the holy city, to wit, Jeremiah, the prophet of the Most High. Whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas, a sword of gold. And in giving it, spake thus. He gave him a sword of pure gold. And he said these words to Judas, take this holy sword, gold sword. You got to see this in your mind. Take this holy sword, a gift from the Most High, with the which thou shalt wound the adversaries. With this sword, you're going to wound the enemies. Thus being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good and able to stir them up to valor, ready to fight. Hearing his words that he's bringing to the brothers, the warriors, and to encourage the hearts of the young men that on their warlike apparel. Remember that. Ready for war. They determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set by conflict, because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger. You see, for the care that they took for their wives and their children, their brethren and kinsfolks was in least account with them. But the greatest and principal fear was for the holy temple. It said everything did not except for the holy temple. Also, they that were in the city took not the least care, being troubled for the conflict abroad. And now, when and all looked was what should be the trial, and the enemies were already come near, they coming near to him, and the army was set in array, and the beast conveniently placed, and the horsemen set in wings. Maccabees, seeing the coming of the multitude and the diverse preparations of armor and the fierceness of the beast, stretched out his hands toward heaven and called upon the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that worketh wonders, knowing that victory cometh not by arms, but even as it seemeth good to him. He give it to such as are worthy. The victory is in the Most High's hand, in other words. He gives it to whomever he feels is worthy. There, because he's a man of war. When you read Exodus 15:3, the Most High is a man of war. The Most High is his name. Therefore, in his prayer, he said, after this matter, He praying to the Most High. Oh, Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Most High said that's his name forever, memorial to all generations. Thou didst send thine angel. Hear this clearly. Thou didst send thine angel in the time of Ezekiel, king of Judea, and did slay in the host of Sennacherib and 100 fourscore and 5,000. Okay, I said over 100,000. Here it is, 100 fourscore and 5,000. The score is 20, so that's 185,000. One angel. Let me read it again. O Most High, he's praying. Thou didst send thine angel in the time of Ezekiel, king of Judea, and didst slay in the host of Sennacherib and 100 fourscore and 5,000. That's 185,000. That's why it's so important for us to be tuned into the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in these trying times. Because he's going to send his angels. His angels are already here. They're already here. It's just a matter of where we at and being able to be in the spirit so that they're going to perform the duties of the Most High. How he want them to be, that's how they going to be. Look at just to prove that, he's Ecclesiastes 39 and 28. It's Ecclesiastes 39 and 28. There be spirits. Okay, you see spirits here, so let me let you know that these are angels. Just in case you didn't know. Go to Psalms 104 and 4. To prove that the spirits are angels. As he said, he sent one angel that killed 185,000. So Psalms 104 and 4, proving that these spirits are angels. Psalms 104 and 4, who maketh his angels spirits. See? His ministers a flaming fire, right? So we're going to find out about these particular spirits, or these particular angels. What are their jobs? Listen. Remember, you had one angel that killed 185,000 in war by itself. So Ecclesiastes 39 and 28 says, there be spirits or angels that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. That's why Judas Maccabees reminding his army men of the Most High, what he's done aforetime, as we just read. They're going to appease the wrath of the Most High who made them. What are they? Fire. These are spirits. Fire. See, this is spiritual. So if you're not spiritual, you can't relate to this. This just sounds like you're reading something for information. No, these are spirits that's within the fire. Fire, like here in California, they have fires every year. Like you got a certain season, it's going to snow. Out here, it's a fire season every year. And the fire is a spirit because it goes to the edge of the freeway. And you can look it up. It'll go to the edge of the freeway and then it'll make a ball of fire right there, because you can't go across the freeway, so it'll make a ball of fire. Sometimes it just goes straight across to the other side. But sometimes it just, a wind comes, it just The spirits just make a big ball of fire and just go take it up in the air and take it to another neighborhood and catch that neighborhood on fire or that part of land on fire. Those are spirits, fire. First one in the name, fire. And the most remember the most high is what? A consuming fire. He the ultimate spirit. That's why he tell us in St. John 4:24, the most high is a spirit, is a spirit. And they that worship him must worship him how? In spirit and in truth. You understand? So he the ultimate spirit, fire, and he's a consuming fire. And hell, I see some hell coming down the other day. I mean, we won't have rain out here that much, but it was hell. It looked like it was lime green or something. It was like funny colored. Hell and famine, food shortages, and death. Got death angels, death spirits. All these were created for vengeance, you see. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, tails of a scorpion, serpents, poisonous snakes, and the sword. By their swords are guns, or whatever weapon of war you can use to kill people, punishing the wicked to destruction. This is what it say. These are angels. They shall rejoice in his commandment. Like that one angel, rejoice in the commandment of the Most High to do what? And they shall be ready upon earth. Ready upon earth. Wherever you look around, you don't see them, but they there. Wherever you are. You got spirits on the right hand and spirits on the left hand. Wherever you are. Understand this. Listen to what it says. And they shall be ready upon earth. Right here where we at. When need is, when the Most High desires their need, they right here on the earth ready to operate for the Most High. And when their time has come, when these angels, these spirits, when their time has come, they shall not transgress his word. They're going to do exactly what the Most High say. They in order. See, we out of order, but we getting in order to be ready for the time to come. Or you can be thrown in a lake of fire. When myself shall come back to judge and make war, and he coming back to purify the earth with fire. This not a, don't take a rocket science to figure this out now. Water's a purifying element. He put the rainbow in the sky to remind himself, the Most High remind himself that he's not going to flood the earth anymore, but he's going to bring that fire. He's going to purify this earth with fire through the angels. And on my shot, I was shot. Okay, let's read the prayer again. Go to 2 Maccabees 15:22. Therefore, in his prayer, he said after this manner, O Most High, thou didst send thine angel in the time of Ezekiel, king of Judea, and didst slay in the host of Sennacherib 185,000. 185,000. Understand this too. Go to Colossians, the first chapter, so you can see what was created by the Most High through a Mashiach Shai, the top angel that the Most High created. Colossians, the first chapter. Let's start at let's look at let's look at verse 13. Because everybody know about John 3:16, for the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So now we see the son, he's talking about a Mashiach Yahushua. Let's start at 13. Who have delivered us from the power of darkness, the power of ignorance that he told Esau to get into. And when he got into it, he put the people in gross darkness. So Mashiach came into a town that was in gross darkness. He came into a land around the people that was in gross darkness. That's why when you read St. John, the first chapter, now we in the Roman Empire. John, the first chapter, it tells you in we'll start at verse 4. In him, or Mashiach Yahushua, was life. That's why he said, I'm the way to show you how to follow the truth, which is the laws of the Most High, the commandments of the Most High. It's going to lead to everlasting life. St. John 14:6, right? So in him was life, and the light was the light of men. So the light of men is keeping the Most High's commandments. Proverbs 6:23. The light is the law, the commandments of the Most High. So now when you look at verse 5, it says, and the light shineth in darkness. You see that? So the light, the commandments are shining in darkness, ignorance, people that don't know until this day. And the darkness comprehended not. So those that are in darkness, ignorant, they're not going to comprehend what it is that's being said here. That's why, I try and slow down, but this is for the leaders. This is for those that are not novices, primarily for those that's going to hear this and those that are can look at this and go over it for themselves to learn. You see? So he came into gross darkness that the people were in. Tell you that in Isaiah 60:2. When Esau went into when he went into darkness, he put the people in gross ignorance, like it is today. So now, going back to Colossians, the first chapter, I digress. Verse 13, it says, who have delivered us from the power of darkness, power of ignorance, not knowing. That's why we have this written for us. This whole Bible written for us. And when you look at, I've showed you, when you go to Acts, the first chapter, the 6th verse, they ask, are you going to restore the kingdom to Israel again after he had died? Mashiach had died, rose on the third day, walked to earth for 40 days. They say, you going to restore the kingdom to Israel at this time? How we went through Deuteronomy 28:15-68, all the curses, all the prophecies that were supposed to happen? No. We nearing that time now. That's why it's about getting yourself together. Fear the Most High, repent, keep the commandments of the Most High, keep the laws of the Most High, and cry unto the Most High with humility and broken and contrite spirit. Ain't no private people going to the kingdom. He gonna destroy you, straight up. Listen, no matter how it looks, no matter how you think, it's about humility before the Most High. His name is jealous. Now you don't you so prideful, you put yourself above the Most High and don't even realize it. You didn't even talk about the Most High. You didn't even know him. And it's going to be, like Marcel Shai said, he said it over and over again, it's going to be weeping and welling the teeth. Gnashing of teeth, weeping and gnashing of teeth. Colossians 1:13, I'll digress. Who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear son. Because he's going to rule for 1,000 years, man. He said, in whom we have redemption through his blood, only the Israelites. Even the forgiveness of sins, Acts 5:31. It says, him at the Most High exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior for to give repentance to Israel. Acts 5:31. So it says, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. Because we the only ones that's given the law to sin against the Most High, break his laws. Nobody else was given the laws of the Most High. Only us, we the 12 tribes of Israel. This is what it says. Who is the image of the invisible power. So the Most High's invisible power. You can't set nothing up to represent the Most High at all. He's an invisible power, the firstborn of every creature. Listen what it says. For by him were all things created that are in heaven. Listen at this closely. So Mashiach was shy to the power of the Most High as an angel of the Most High, the top angel of the Most High, the only begotten son of the Most High. You understand this? As an angel, you see, he created everything that's in heaven and that is in the earth, that's in this earth. Listen what it's saying. Visible and what? And invisible. So you got things that's invisible on this earth that most people are going to flip out when they start seeing things happen before their eyes because they're invisible spirits, angels that are on this earth, entities that he made that's invisible, that's going to start doing things or have been doing things. I've seen this in my lifetime. Things just come from one point into another, and you won't see nobody there. Certain things happening. The TV station turning on or whatever. People waking up and the newspaper spread on the table, and they soda is been opened up. Mess you up, man. They got things that are invisible. Understand it. You see what he said? He made things in heaven that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things. And by him all things consist. You see, as the angel of the Most High, just like your angel right now. Coming back, when he come back, he come back again. That's why he said, look, y'all got it twisted, man. If you think he coming back the way he came back prior, no, he told you in Isaiah 47:3, he said, listen what he say, thy nakedness, your wickedness, all the things you doing shall be uncovered, gonna be exposed. Yeah. He said, thy shame shall be seen. I shall take vengeance. Just like he said, there are spirits that are made, created for what? Vengeance. Because he that top angel that's going to come on this earth and take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. There it is. So he ain't coming back as no man. He come back in his angelic power to set righteousness on this earth. So it behooves anybody in my voice to want to be there. If not, then hey, this is your consolation right here. You better enjoy it, because this is all you got coming. This is it. So back to 2 Maccabees 15. Verse 23. Wherefore now also, O Most High of heaven, send a good angel before us for a fear and dread unto them. This is prayer. Send a good angel before us. Just like, remember, it tells you in 1 Corinthians 10th chapter that a Mashiach went before us in a cloud in the wilderness. Led us in a cloud in the wilderness in the daytime. And when it stopped, we stopped to put our tents up. And at night, it turned into a fiery chariot, what they call UFOs. We know them as IFOs. We knew that. We had this understanding. That's why we raised the song, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan. Jordan runs down Israel. Not the Nile, but the Jordan River. What did I see? A band of angels coming for me. So these things were known. It's just we don't know because all our knowledge was must have been taken away from us through slavery. Now we coming back to it, it's a joyous thing, it's a beautiful time, to know, just like y'all celebrate 4th of July, this is a beautiful time that we celebrating destruction of Nicanor. Just like that. I just can't make it no difference. No clearer than that. You know what that's about. Well, some of you probably don't know. You just, it's a holiday. It's their holiday. So you celebrate it. You don't even know what you celebrate. We wasn't celebrating no 4th of July in slavery. All them hundreds of years, were we? They had fireworks. I wonder what the fireworks were. I bet you some of us went up in the fire, in flames just for fun. Until Willie List came and said, hey, I see that y'all got y'all slaves hanging on trees and so forth. He said he came up with a foolproof method that would have us to be against each other as it is today. He said, might last forever as it is today, except for those that are coming back to the Most High. Faith of the Most High, keeping his commandments. It's difference, altogether different. Well, we got to look at what we got to deal with to be worthy to be in the kingdom. That's what's most important, that our names should be written in the book of life. All this information here and misinformation there, and you don't know what you need to do for your name to be written in the book of life, that when you come back, you don't burn you up. You ain't going to just disintegrate. You got one angel. Listen what he praying for. Listen what he said. Listen what he said. Send a good angel. This is in his prayer. He said, wherefore now also, O Most High Power of heaven, send a good angel before us for a fear and dread unto them. That's why I say, y'all can look at us all you want to. It's all right. But you're going to have to deal with the Most High. Every last one of us, we're going to have to deal with the Most High. You're going to have to deal with him. I just told you, I ain't going to meet you as a man. He coming in his angelic power. He's an angel right now. He said, with 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm in the midst thereof. You better ask somebody, shoot. He said, I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. That's those that's going to be doing what's right. He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. Do what he say do. And he's doing what the Most High is telling him to do. Everybody's under rulership of the Most High. Y'all don't get it twisted now. He said, hey, send for this good angel before us for fear and dread unto them. Scare them. But see, y'all think fear means something different. He said a fear and a dread be unto them. Scare them to death. That's what he's saying. And through the night, excuse me, Salaki, and through the might of thine arm, let those be stricken with terror. You think that fear ain't terror? What that be? So fear don't mean to be scared or be afraid. He said, bring terror upon them that come against thy holy people to blaspheme. And he ended thus. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs, right? But Judas and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer, right? So, right there, let's go back to First Maccabees, the 7th chapter. Second Maccabees, 7th chapter. Just Salakia. And he just, what was that? That was in First Maccabees, the 7th chapter. Hold on. Hold on for just a second. Here we go. First Maccabees, the 7th chapter. And let's start at verse 31. Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, you know, that he pretended like he's going to be our friend, went out to fight against Judas beside Kepher Shalom, where there were slain of Nicanor's side about 5,000 men, and the rest fled into the city of David. So the Most High killed 5,000, and the rest fled into the city of David. After this went Nicanor up to Mount Zion, and there came out of the sanctuary certain of the priests and certain of the elders of the people to salute him peaceably and to show him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king. But he mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully and spake proudly. Now that abused them shamefully is something to behold. And he spake proudly, you see. That's why when you look at Psalms, the 83rd chapter, Psalms, the 83rd chapter, when it tells you, it says, keep not thy silence, O Most High, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, that's an uproar, and they that hate thee, they that hate the Most High, they the enemies of the Most High, they hate the Most High, have lifted up the head, right? They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. That's the Israelites. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. That's why I'll keep saying y'all don't need to be calling ourselves no group, no organization, no community, none of that. We're a nation. We're 12 nations that make up one nation, the 12 tribes of Israel. They said, let us cut them off from being a nation, and you're not acknowledging yourself as a nation. We ain't no group. We're a nation. All 12 tribes. We 12 nations that make up one nation. That's why he told our forefather Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. He said, a nation and a company of nations shall come of thee. The 12 tribes of Israel. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembered. That's why you go to church and you call yourself what? A Gentile. Just like a bunch of parrots, a bunch of robots and robot teeth. You regurgitating what it is that you have been told from slavery. Until this day, man, it's crazy. It's like, y'all gotta wanna know more. You have to wanna know more, but you gotta study. You gotta be taught. In other words, you don't know what to study because y'all had a Bible. If you don't know what to study, how to study, then it's gonna be the same thing year in and year out, the same old, regurgitating the same thing and not understanding the truth. Ever learning, but never coming to the knowledge of the truth. Here it is. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They're all together in this. They are confederate against thee. Listen to his name first, the tabernacles of Edom. Remember it says, they have taken crafty counsel, verse 2, and lo, thine enemies make a tumult, an uproar, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. That's pride. The first one in name is who? The tabernacles of Edom. That's what we're looking at. Prideful. This is what it say with him. With him. Verse 34. First Maccabees 7:34. But he mocked them. They're trying to show him love. He mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully. Abused them shamefully. That's another level. You'll see. Shamefully. And spake proudly. See? Lifted up the head. Spake proudly. And swear in his wrath, saying, unless Judas and his hosts, Judas and his armies, be now delivered into my hands, if ever I come again in safety, if I come to this place again, I will burn up this house. And with that, he went out in a great rage. If you don't deliver Judas up to me, I'm going to burn up this house. I'm going to burn up all of y'all. And he left angry as ever. Then the priest entered in and stood before the altar and the temple, weeping and saying, thou. Okay, so we're sending up prayers. The priest sending up prayers. We're going to look at First Maccabees, the 7th chapter, the 37th verse. They crying to the Most High. Let's read verse 36 so you understand the Most High don't have that compassion and all that ability to feel us if we not coming with him with a humble and broken, contrite spirit. Listen, we in that time of Jacob's trouble. So pay attention to our ancestors. Y'all say call on your ancestors. All you say that, we looking at our ancestors, what they did and what works. Look. First Maccabees 7:36. Then the priest entered in and stood before the altar. When this wicked Nicanor and said, hey, when I come back, I'm going to burn this house down if you don't deliver Judas Maccabees to me and his host. Then the priest entered in. This First Maccabees 7 chapter, the 36th verse, in the Apocrypha, the 14 books that the Protestants took out of the King James Bible. Then the priest entered in and stood before the altar and the temple, weeping. See, that's crying and saying, crying to the Most High. Thou, O Most High, did choose this house to be called by thy name, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to be a house of prayer and petition for thy people, who are the 12 tribes of Israel. Be avenged of this man and his host. Be avenged of Nicanor and his army. Just a prayer. And let them fall by the sword. Remember their blasphemies and suffer them not to continue any longer. Now, understand this, because these are the same people, same spirit that you see there. You're going to see when you look at the salvation is coming on the earth to the Israelites. Just what they're going to say in Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 7. Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, 7th verse. This is what they're going to say. And I hope it'll penetrate to someone to realize the truth. They're going to say, we weird ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Righteousness is coming on this earth at this time. This is what they're going to say. When the Mashiach shall come back to judge and make war, and those, the remnant of those that are going to be able to say this, going to say this. The enemies and haters of the Most High, as we just read in Psalms 83rd chapter. They're going to say, Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 7, we weird ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. You can see that right now. Wickedness and destruction. Everywhere you look, turn on the news, that's all you see is bad things. It's just evil things. It's war. Like he said, war in diverse places. You know, we in World War III right now, whether you want to accept it or not. We rid ourselves of the way of wickedness and destruction. Yeah, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way. But as for the way of the Most High and of Mashiach Yahushua, we have not known it. Known is what? Past tense to the present. Because they saying from the time we in now to the time that salvation is coming on this earth for the 12 tribes of Israel and the remnant of those that's going to go into their position in Mashiach Yahushua, the Most High's kingdom. That's what they're going to say. They have not known the way of the Most High and of Mashiach Yahushua. That's why he just told you they're the enemies and haters of the Most High. Make it mean something different. This is real simple. Going back to First Maccabees, the 7th chapter. So they praying, hey, verse 38, be avenged of this man and his host, this Nicanor and his army, and let them fall by the sword. Remember their blasphemies and suffer them not to continue any longer. So Nicanor went out of Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Beth Horon, where an host out of Syria met him. An army out of Syria met him. But Judas pitched in Adassa with 3,000 men. And there he prayed, saying, now he's praying, saying, remember the priest prayed that prayer. Now Judas is praying. Prayer is very important. He humbly prayed, saying, O Most High, when they that were sent from the king of the Assyrians blasphemed, thine angel went out and smote 100, fourscore, and 5,000 of them. Reminding the Most High again, what we just read, 185,000 killed by one angel. He reminded them, these are things that works. Even so, destroyed thou this host, this army, before us this day, the destruction of Nicanor, that the rest may know that he has spoken blasphemously against thy sanctuary. So you're going to burn it down. You know you're going to burn it down. You're going to burn the people up too. And judge thou him according to his wickedness. So the 13th day of the month of Adar, that's the day we in. Day before Mordecai's day, the day before Purim, the last month of the year. So the 13th day of the month, Adar, the host, joined battle, but Nicanor's host was discomfited, and he himself was first slain in the battle. Now you tell me prayer is not powerful. The priest prayed for it. Did Judas pray for it? Judas Maccabees prayed for it. And hey, you tell me the Most High ain't come through. But some of my shot, y'all shot. Look, so the 13th day of the month, Adar, hallelujah, to the Most High. So the 13th day of the Most High, excuse me, of the month, Adar, the host joined battle, but Nicanor's host, which is his army, Nicanor's army was discomfited, and he himself was first slain in the battle. Now, when Nicanor's host saw that he was slain, they cast away their weapons and fled. They threw down their weapons and ran, got on away from him. They fled. Then they pursued after them a day's journey, and from Adasa unto Gazara, sounding an alarm after them with their trumpets. You know, you got, like when we go through the Feast of Trumpets, you know, I showed you how we have different sounds of the trumpets to let the people know what the trumpet sound means, you know, like just a war sound. We hear that sound, oh, that's war. We getting ready for war. Sound of the trumpets. That's a warning. Going ahead. So the 13th day of the month, Adar, the host joined battle, and generally that's between our Esau's third month to the fourth month, somewhere between that. Generally, between the last day of our particular year. Not, it has nothing to do with the way Esau calendar is. We just using it for dealing with, counting from the moon. And the 13th day of the month, Adar, the host joined battle, the new moon, I might say the new month, our new month. But Nicanor's host or army was discomfited, and he himself was first slain in the battle. So the prayers were answered. Now, when Nicanor's host saw that he was slain, they saw that he was dead, they cast away their weapons and fled. Then they pursued after them a day's journey, a whole day, 24 hours, they chasing them from Adasa unto Gazera, sounding an alarm after them with their trumpets, like I say, whereupon they came forth out of all the towns of Judea round about and closed them in, so that they, turning back upon them that pursued them, were all slain with the sword. They caught up to them and killed them. And not one of them was left. They killed every last one of them. Afterwards, they took the spoils. See, like I told you, you go to war, you had your best jewelry, your I mean, you like I say, young men had on warlike, but you had your best garments. You went out there, warlike garments. You went out there, put on your strength, put on that beautiful garment, put their beautiful garments on, put on their jewelry. They had jewelry. That's why they took the spoils. They got money from all these things that they got from them. It was valuable. They took the spoils. That's from the army man that they killed. So that let you know that they didn't just go out there looking like everyday people. They look glorious going to war. Afterwards, they took the spoils and the prey and smote off Nicanor's head. They cut his head off. They cut Nicanor's head off and his right hand, which he stretched out so proudly, and brought them away and hanged him up toward Jerusalem. They cut off his head and they cut off his right arm, which he profanely always put out like he's going to do so much to us, the Israelites. So they cut his head off and they cut his arm off, that he pointed, so violently of the things that he's planning on doing to us. For this cause the people rejoiced greatly. So it's a time of rejoicing. And they kept that day a day of great gladness. See, you're supposed to be looking at this as a day of great gladness. It's always this war, but it's still a day of great gladness, just like y'all have gladness whenever y'all be celebrating y'all 4th of July. It's the same thing. Except it's a day of great gladness that we celebrating the destruction of Nicanor, as you just seen. We just cut off his head and cut off his arm, his right arm that he pointed out to kill us, and we having a good time. Listen, not only that, it say, moreover, they ordained to keep yearly this day, being the 13th of Adar. Thus the land of Judah was in rest a little while, just a little while. You see, so this is the 13th day of the 12th month that we honor. Now, going back to Second Maccabees, let me see what we're going. Okay, so we're gonna look at go back to Second Maccabees, the 15th chapter. Second Maccabees, the 15th chapter. Just a moment.
Lose 45.
Come back. We in Second Maccabees, the 15th chapter. So like now bear with me. So we're still dealing with destruction of Nicanor. Now we know what happened to him. We know the results of what happened to him in the end. So in Second Maccabees, the 15th chapter, picks up concerning him again. It says, but Nicanor, hearing that Judas and his company were in the strong places about Samaria, resolved without any danger to set upon them on the Sabbath day. Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, oh, destroy not so cruelly and barbarously, but give honor to that day. The Jews that was with him, they know about the Sabbath day. Most High, the seventh day, Most High said, keep holy. So they was trying to compel him not to do this on the Sabbath day, but give honor to that day, which is the Sabbath day, the seventh day of the week, which he that seeth all things, that's the Most High that seeth everything, have honored with holiness above other days, the Sabbath day. Then the most ungracious wretch demanded, if there be a mighty one in heaven that had commanded the Sabbath day to be kept. And when they said, there is a heaven, a living power and mighty, who commanded the seventh day to be kept, then said the other, and I am mighty upon earth. See that pride? Hear that pride? Say, I'm mighty on earth, and I command to take arms and to do the king's business. Yet he obtained not to have his wicked will done. So Nicanor, in exceeding pride, in haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that were with him. So he planning on setting up a monument of Judas and the men once he killed them, thinking he gonna kill them. But Maccabeus had ever sure confidence that the Most High would help him. Remember, he prayed. We already know what happened. He prayed to the Most High. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, from the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, and now to expect the victory and aid from the Most High, which should come unto them from the Almighty. And so comforting them out of the law and the prophets, that's the Old Testament, the old scrolls, and withal putting them in mind of the battles that they won aforetime, he made them more cheerful. They got happy. And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge, showing them therewithal the falsehood of this heathen, the lies that they had told, and the breach of oaths, as we read before. Thus he armed every one of them, not so much with defense of shields and spears, as with comfortable and good words. He armed them with comfortable and good words. And beside that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed, as if it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. It's the dream. And this was his vision, that Onias, who had been high priest, a virtuous and a good man, reverence in conversation, gentle in condition, well spoken also, and exercised from a child in all points of virtue, holding up his hands, prayed for the whole body of the Jews, holding up his hands, praying for all of the 12 tribes of Israel. This done, in like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs and exceeding glorious, who was of a wonderful and excellent majesty. Then Onias answered, saying, This is a lover of the brethren, who prayed much for the people and for the holy city, to wit, Jeremiah, the prophet of the Most High, whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold. In giving it, spake thus. This is what he spoke to him. Take this holy sword, a gift from the Most High. Can you imagine? The best gold is gold of Ophir, a solid gold sword. Say, a gift from the Most High, with the which thou shalt wound the adversary. You shall wound the enemies. Thus being well comforted by the words of Judas, which was very good, and able to stir them up to valor, and to encourage the hearts of the young men, they determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict, because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger. For the care, they said, we ain't going to camp. Said, we not setting up camp, we going to fight. For the care that they took for their wives and their children, their brethren and kinfolks, was in least account with them. They were all about dealing with what they had to deal with. But the greatest and principal fear was for the holy temple, And they that were in the city took not the least care, being troubled for the conflict abroad. And now, when as all looked what should be the trial, and the enemies were already come near, and the army was set in array, and the beasts conveniently placed, and the horsemen set in wings. They even had elephants that they had trained to fight in the war. Maccabeus, seeing the coming of the multitude and the diverse preparations of armor and the fierceness of the beast, these elephants stretched out his hands toward heaven and called upon the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that worketh wonders. Y'all gotta hear it. What's being said, knowing that victory cometh not by arms, but even as it seemeth good to him. He giveth it to such as are worthy. Therefore, in his prayer, he said after this matter, O Most High, thou didst send thine angel in the time of Ezekiel, king of Judea, and did slay in the host of Sennacherib and 185,000. Once again, this is the third time we done heard it. That angel killed 185,000. The score is 20. So this is 185,000. One angel. Wherefore now also, O most high power of heaven, send a good angel before us for a fear and dread unto them. And through the might of thine arm, let those be stricken with terror that come against thy holy people to blaspheme. And he ended this. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs. But Judas and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer, so that fighting with their hands and praying unto the most high power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob with their hearts, with their minds, they slew no less than 30,000. They slew no more or less 30,000 men. For through the appearance of the Most High, they were greatly cheered. Now, when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness, right? Then they made a great shout and a noise praising the Almighty in their own language, Hebrew, praising the Most High. Praise you, Most High. Praise you, Most High. Praise you, Most High. And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens of the 12 tribes of Israel, both in body and mind, and who continued his love toward his countrymen all his life, commanded to strike off Nicanor's head. So Judas Maccabees told him to take off Nicanor's head and his hand with his shoulder and bring them to Jerusalem. So when he was there, he took off his head, took off his right hand, but from his shoulder, all to at that hand, all this here. And when he was there and had called them of his nation together, called it all the 12 tribes that were amongst us, mainly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but all the other tribes that was there too, because a lot of tribes were with us too. They wasn't dealing with the other dynasties. They stayed with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the southern kingdom. So when he was there and had called them of his nation together, that's the 12 tribes of Israel, and set the priests before the altar, he sent for them that were of the tower. And those are the watchmen that was watching out, and showed them vile Nicanor's head and the hand of that blasphemer, which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty. And when we say he's gonna burn it down, when he come back, they don't deliver Judas Maccabees to him. And when he had cut out the tongue of that unrighteous Nicanor, he cut the tongue out of unrighteous Nicanor, he commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls, unto the buzzards. Cut his tongue out of his mouth and cut his tongue up and say, give it to the buzzards, fowls, and hang up the reward of his madness before the temple. So every man prays toward the heaven, the glorious Most High, saying, blessed be he that hath kept his own place undefiled. He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all the help of the Most High. You see who get the glory? The Most High. All the help of the Most High. Hallelujah to the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they ordained all with a common decree, in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, as we are, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day, which is the day before we call Purim. And we're going to read about it tomorrow in Esther, the book of Esther. They call it Purim. They call it Mordecai's day also. Thus went it with Nicanor. And from that time forth, the Hebrews had the city in their power. And here will I make an end. And if I have done well, and as is fitting the story, it is that which I desire. But if slenderly, Salakia, and meanly, it is that which I could attain unto. For as it is hurtful to drink wine or water alone, and as wine mingled with water is pleasant and delighteth the taste, even so speech finely framed delighteth the ears of them that read the story. And here shall be an end. So with that, we're going to rejoice and enjoy the destruction of Nicanor. If you have any questions, you can contact me, Priest One. Make a comment, like the channel, subscribe to the channel. And with that, I say, Crumb Most High, Crumb Mashak Yabashai, and Crumb Yasharala. And I'm out. Shalom, y'all.